What am I actually going to talk about today in this space? Cycling performance. Most people, no matter what their position is on the other two components of exogenous ketones, tend to agree that exogenous ketones help with athletic performance. So I heard second or third hand from someone in my church that someone else was interested in me coming to speak to their group about being ketogenic. I was glad they didn't ask because they wouldn't have liked what my position on it. They were in a multi-level marketing group selling exogenous ketones. And not only do I not like multi-level marketing groups, I was also didn't like exogenous ketones. And here I think most people would actually agree on that position. It's the position you hear stated by Ken Berry and several others, that if your goal is to lose weight or get into ketosis by burning your own fat, then drinking exogenous ketones and continuing to eat carbs just does not work. I mean, that's dumb. However, there's maybe actually more to it than that. If you listen to somebody like Annette Bosworth, she actually sells her own brand of endogenous ketones, and her perspective is, look, you're preparing your metabolic system and getting it ready. You're preparing the enzymes that use fatty acids, that burn fatty acids, that burn fat, and make it your metabolic system much more able to switch from carbohydrate burning to fat burning. Now that actually is a very interesting question. I'm going to cover an article today that has to do with a different issue. And I plan to do some other articles. I don't think anybody knows yet this assumption that Bosworth has, that exogenous ketones will prepare your mitochondria. That, I think, is a very interesting and critical piece of information, but I don't think we know it yet. Now, what am I actually going to talk about today in this space? Cycling performance. Most people, no matter what their position is on the other two components of exogenous ketones, tend to agree that exogenous ketones help with athletic performance. Have you heard about our event November 8th and 9th in Louisville? Check it out. Go to the front page of our website right there and then click for more information. Well, this is a short article. Not going to spend much time on it, but it certainly doesn't support that assumption. It's all in the title here. It was in the Journal of Science Cycling. Oral beta-hydroxybutyrate salt fails to improve 4-minute cycling performance during following submaximal exercise. I'll just go to the latter half of it. It tells the story. Ingestion of the BHB, that is beta-hydroxybutyrate salt supplement, was associated with a large increase in beta-hydroxybutyrate concentrations compared to placebo. So in other words, you got a lot of ketone in your blood. You also had a moderate increase in the respiratory exchange rate and in MVO2 max. However, it didn't really make an impact in terms of performance. In conclusion, beta-hydroxybutyrate salt supplementation altered the beta-hydroxybutyrate blood concentrations, respiratory exchange rate, and VO2 max. But it did not improve 4-minute cycling performance. Now, you could say that's the end of that story, that article, and move on. But there's a little bit more background to this, and this helps, I think, you understand a little bit of the context. Here's the thing. We've only got enough glycogen in our liver and muscles to, go 10, 20 miles. Those of us who've been long-distance runners or still are, endurance athletes. But you could go probably for days on stored fat. So let me just, this is where they're going with this in the introduction. They're basically making the point that your ability to switch over and burn fat instead of glycogen is a huge advantage for well-trained athletes. And it tends to make the cut in their perspective between a weekend warrior type athlete or a highly trained endurance athlete. And it makes the difference in who wins and who doesn't on the competitions longer than 2 hours. So the ability to burn fats, burn ketones, which are made from fatty acids and fats, would be a huge deal. Well, obviously we can get there if we're on low carb, but he goes on to make the point that that's been a major stretch. You're starting to get endurance athletes who are doing it, prepping for a marathon on low carb diets. And in fact, maybe starting is not the right word. There's been a lot more of it going on recently. But here's the thing, and here's what they were looking for. They're saying, look, can you have both? Can you continue to eat the carbs and get your beta-hydroxybutyrate, your ketones, from exogenous sources? That was what the purpose of this piece of research was. Unfortunately, it didn't support that assumption. Thanks for your interest. Would you like to get your CIMT and labs all coordinated for you and done at one time over a 2-day period? Check out our event. It's going to be in Louisville, November 8th and 9th.